Hey everyone, I am back with the story. So, last time I left off where I was sharing about how my first love um, abandoned me and how that just broke my tiny little heart into pieces. Um, so, during that same period, if you remember, I had shared how that there was a good friend that I had who I first told about being sexually abused when I first discovered. He too left the country just during the same period. So at that point, I felt very alone, very unsettled, very, like everything had changed around me and I had nowhere to look to for support or anything like that. So it was a very tough period for me. And that's the time that I first got triggered, like I shared earlier. So, in my rationale, I thought, okay, so if this person who I had kept myself for, we never, um, I took time to get to know him before we actually dated, and I was, principled about all these things. Maybe that didn't work. Maybe the only way to get me a spouse is to just be impulsive about it. And so, and to add on to that, during that same period, we shifted locations as a family. We went to a different location. So we moved from the farms where I said that we were living in. And yeah, I went to a new church. Like I said, I'd moved away from the family denomination, and I started going to a Pentecostal church. So even when we moved, I looked for a Pentecostal church near my area, and I joined that church. And lo and behold, within the first month or so of being there, um, I had joined the choir because I've always been active in whichever church I've gone to. I've always been active, especially in the choir. I joined the choir, and there was this guy who was my neighbor, like right across the way, and he he asked to be my boyfriend, and I accepted within just a month. And within the first 3 months, actually no, within less than 3 months of knowing and dating him, he forced himself on me. Again, I was, with him in his room, just the two of us, and he forced himself on me. He wasn't like my first boyfriend, he wasn't gentlemanly, not at all. So yeah, he forced himself on me, and I had, if you remember, I shared how that when I became a Christian, I was very focused, very strong, and so one of the things that I had told God was that the only man that I'll ever sleep with is my husband, and I was very serious about that. I was dead serious. So when this guy forced himself on me, and we ended up, having sex, I was broken, obviously, because I told God that I would only have sex in marriage. But then I said, okay, you made your own bed. Like I literally told myself this: you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. You chose to be with this guy. You are the one who was in a room with him alone. So you have to, be with him. And so that's when I vowed to God that this would be my husband. After 3 months of knowing this person, but because I ended up sleeping with him, I told God and I promised God that I'm never going to sleep with anyone else. This is the only man I'll ever sleep with. So he is now my husband. And I told him as much. So the relationship went on, but unfortunately, he was extremely abusive, physically and mentally. He was very manipulative and physically abusive, sexually as well, because he used to force himself on me. He forced himself on me over and over again, and he used to call himself the sex machine or something like that. There'll be times he would even say, I can't live without sex, so I have to have sex. He would do things to me like, at the time I was working and he wasn't. And when he is escorting me from work going to my place, in the middle of the walk, there would be unfinished houses and things like that, and he would tell me, let's go into that unfinished house and have sex. And I would accept, and I would go with him and do that. There was a time that he was escorting me again at night, and I said something to him and he got so upset. He hit me so hard. I literally flew to the ground and passed out. And he left me there. He went, and I don't know how long it was before I came to again, and I found myself on the ground, and I realized, whoa, this guy hit me and he left me. It was late at night, very unsafe. But yeah, he left me, and thank God nothing happened to me. So I just gathered my little handbag and whatever else I was carrying, and I went home. And I remember getting home really late, later than I would usually get home. My mom was very upset. She said, why are you so late? So you were with that guy again? By the way, she hated him. She did not like him because she felt like, I guess she knew. She's a mother. She knew that he was no good for me at all. Mom knew my first boyfriend, and she loved him. She loved him. So anyway, those are some of the things that I went through with this guy. He would come home when I am, I'm home alone, and he would demand to have sex with me in my parents' home. Very disrespectful, But I stuck with him for 4 years, and it was because I told myself, I am married to him now. He is my husband. And he was very cocky about me having given myself to him like that. Very, very cocky about it. You can't go anywhere. You are mine. And and this is something that people who know my story are always like, but were you married? No, we were never married. But I was so committed to him, it looked to people like we were married. We were never married. And so he is the father of my first daughter. I remember even before I got pregnant, because mom didn't like him so much, and she made no apologies about it. She was very open about it. She told him in his face, I don't like you. you are very rude, I don't want you for my daughter. He literally hated her, and he took it as a challenge, and he would tell me things like, we need to prove to her that we love each other, and the ultimate way of proving to her that we love each other is by us having a child together. This is without even marriage, and I accepted, I agreed to that, because he's my husband. I want to please my husband. Yes, very naive, and oh my word, I feel sorry for the younger me. Yeah, but she didn't know any better. Anyway, so my first daughter was actually she wasn't an accident. As many people assume, because I had her out of wedlock, people assume she was an accident. She wasn't. She was planned. I wanted her. We wanted her. Me and her dad wanted her, but we wanted her for the wrong reasons. He wanted her to spite my mother, because my mother did not like him. I wanted her to please him, but also I'd always wanted a child. From secondary school, when I was still in secondary school, I always wanted a child early. I always, so that's how I got my first daughter, and I remained in this abusive relationship, for 4 years. I remember even after I gave birth, he still would beat me. There was one time I had my daughter on my back. She was just a few months, not even 3 months old. She was very small. And he got upset with me and he slapped me. But as he was slapping me, he hit her because she was on my back. We Africans have a way of putting our babies on our backs where the face is sort of right here on the shoulder. And so as he was slapping me, he hit her as well. And because she was a baby, it was bad. Yeah, I didn't walk away. I stayed with him. We were not married. I wasn't obligated to stay with him, but I stayed with him. Yeah, so that was my first relationship, my first triggered relationship. I will end here for now, and we'll pick up next time as I share how I finally broke free from this guy, the father of my first daughter. See ya. Do like and share and comment, because as you like and share and comment and follow my page, we'll be able to reach more people. Again, my aim with sharing my story is to let you know that you're not alone in struggling with being in an abusive relationship, struggling with the effects of child sexual abuse. You are not alone, and what you're going through it's normal for someone who has been sexually abused. But also, as I keep sharing, you will see how I have finally come to a place of healing. And so can you. I'm able to share my story because I am healed. Because I got past all that. And so can you. So please share, like, follow, comment, and let this movement grow. Alrighty. See you next time.